I'm a little bit perturbed by your latest video, especially in some of your characterization of Africa and what's been happening in Africa lately. You know, you pose an interesting question, okay? And on the one hand, there's the influence of the white man. Now, your claim is, of course, that the white man has all the knowledge necessary in order for the economy to thrive, and capitalism and all these white man ideas that were brought to Africa that helped Africa thrive, okay? And that when the white man was kicked out, of course, he took his knowledge with him, and look at what happened now, okay? Well, I think it's an inherently racist thing to say, and let me explain why. You know, with the influence of, I won't call it the white man, because I don't want to put it in racist terms, in terms of the Western business, capitalism, okay, the way in which our multinational corporations will set up business in foreign countries is very exploitative, okay? And what they do is they tend to have a great amount of influence of the governments that come to power there, all right? And they tend to prefer tyrannical governments. And we saw it a lot in Central America, we see it in the Middle East, we see it in a lot of places where businesses have got absolutely no problem dealing with tyrannical regimes as long as they are friendly and they form coalitions with U.S. business interests. All right. So when the inevitable revolution takes place, of course, all these people are going to be thrown out. And, you know, you could say that they take their knowledge with them, but, you know, unfortunately, the kind of people who rise to the top of the political scene under those circumstances are probably not the most savory or, shall we say, beneficent characters. All right. So in Africa, we have one brutal regime after the other. Okay, and a lot of it is because of the influence and the interference of U.S. business interests and the way in which they enabled many tyrannical regimes in that country. The only way you're going to fight that kind of tyrannical regime is with something almost equally tyrannical. All right, a good example is in Iran when the CIA overthrew the democratically elected leader there and installed the Shah. Well, who was powerful enough to overthrow the Shah, to overcome that tyranny? Well, it was something pretty close to being as tyrannical, and we're seeing that now. That theocracy. So, you know, I don't necessarily just hope and wish for the world to be a better place. It's just, you have to understand that the influence of business interests, of capitalist business interests in these countries has had a very negative effect on the political scene there. Whether or not the people in power are allies of U.S. business interests or the enemies, because the enemies have to be nearly as brutal in order to overcome the people who are allied with U.S. business interests, all right? So it's a case where that sort of interference has had a very negative effect, all right? And if I were you, I would not put it in racist terms that they kicked out the white man and then things go downhill from there. That seems inherently racist, and I would not want to be saying those sorts of things, okay? I think if you look at it from a perspective of the behavior of the agencies involved, the U.S. business interests in Africa, and the political powers that align themselves with U.S. business interests, and those sorts of winning coalitions. A book you might find very interesting, or any number of books, is an author by the name of Bueno De Mesquita, who's written several books about winning coalitions, and he actually writes computer models describing winning coalitions. And it would do you a lot of good to read at least one of his books to understand that it's not race that matters, it's who wins. It's the winning coalition. And when the U.S. businesses are involved in foreign governments, sometimes the winning coalition is very small and leaves out a very large number of people. So, so please take that into consideration. I don't think you're intrinsically racist, but I think that opinion is racist, okay? So that's all I'm going to say for now. Thanks. Bye.